Arrived safely. Another man missing as of my arrival. WTF is going on here? Confirmed Mountain is here, haven't connected yet. Blizzard outside, tempers are short, fear underneath. Nothing new to report. Racing through the harsh wind, Magnus Moreau entered the large snow-covered building, shaking the snow off his hood and his shoulders. He stepped from what seemed to be a huge music concert of Mother Nature's current storm into absolute silence, just with a snick of a door. It had been hard to pull the door open against the heavy winds. Closing it wasn't exactly an easy job either. Standing here, sensing the stillness around him in this antechamber entrance room, one step away from the other entrances to separate the harsh cold outside from the heated building inside, he felt the change in the atmosphere. Continuing on into a second chamber, he took off his heavy hooded parka, hung it on his labeled spot, and put his massive snow boots underneath, taking off his gloves at the same time, as well as his balaclava. It was one hell of a relief. Feeling better with every layer removed, and now wearing his inside boots, he strode toward the double doors, welcoming the warmth of the heated building. As he stepped inside, men turned to look at him, and several raised their hands. He just nodded and kept on going. He saw Mountain off to the side. It may be day 1 for Magnus here at the training camp, but it was at least day 3 and counting for Tegan, missing out in this tundra. As much as Magnus wanted to head directly to Mountain, this wasn't the time. Mountain would know that. They had already prearranged signals between them. One if Tegan were found dead, another if Tegan were found alive. No such stealth communication between the two just meant that Mountain continued to search for his brother, regardless of how long it took. Nobody understood the strength needed for Mountain to keep all that angst and anger bottled up, to keep his focus steady on the goal, to not snap from the weight of it all. Mountain and Magnus knew their big target was to investigate the goings-on at this training center, what with 2 suspicious deaths and now 2 men missing, one of them being Mountain's brother. This big target was made messier with the international relations involved among the military members from USA, Russia, Britain, Germany, Switzerland, and other countries represented here. No matter how global this mess was, Mountain and Magnus were under the gun. While this training program was slated to last 12 weeks, and already 3 weeks in, Mother Nature overruled that future deadline. Any man or woman lost outside in this frozen tundra, with no help or supplies, would be severely tested to last 1 day, and Tegan had been missing for 3 days. Mountain had been honest with Mason and Magnus, fearing his brother was now dead. And as part of Mountain's cover as head of Shadow Recon, Mountain would publicly acknowledge that possibility, while openly searching to find his body, yet privately holding on to hope forever. Yet the camp was not to know that Magnus was part of Mountain's team, apart from the colonel on base. Magnus cast another glance toward the big man, as Mountain's shoulders were slightly stiffer and his head up. Something about Mountain's size came with certain mannerisms, and everybody had his tells. Plus, it was almost as if Mountain could sniff out trouble. Magnus wasn't privy to all the information or to who else was here, who may or may not be on the same mission. He hoped it wasn't just the 2 of them because, God, Magnus could almost taste the trouble in the air, and under it all was fear. Mountain wouldn't be easy to put down. Neither would Magnus. He had a lot of aces up his sleeve, and certainly dropping him wouldn't be easy, but it would take a rocket to drop Mountain. Particularly when he was on the hunt for somebody who potentially had hurt his brother. A brother who was still missing. Truth be told, recovering Tegan's body was the expressed goal, but knowing Mountain, he wouldn't be giving up on finding his brother alive. Per the current intel, now they had a 5th incident. Counting the dead Russian, the dead German, the still missing man, Tegan Road, the 2nd missing man, Terrence Billings, and now the most recent missing man, a Russian who disappeared during a training event. He went missing so recently that we don't even have his name yet. Magnus had been informed when he flew in last night. He headed over to the kitchen area where he grabbed a mug of hot coffee, anything to warm him up inside. Nothing like a good stomp around outside to get your blood flowing. But the cold set in very quickly. Once it did, that chill could be hard to chase away.